We're only 3 weeks away from completing our 3-year Read the Whole Bible project, known as IMMERSE. I'm excited. Just 3 more weeks away from completing what we started. But I can't say that I'm all that excited about what I've been reading the past several weeks. Can I be that candid? 1st and 2nd Chronicles can be challenging and difficult reading. It's not the easiest of reading in many cases for a number of reasons. Is there a takeaway for us? Oh yes, I think there are a number, but let's focus on one here at the moment. As you think back about what we've been reading in 1st and 2nd Chronicles and 1st and 2nd Kings, it's not merely a historical record of what happened to the 12 tribes of Israel. It's also an account of what happens with human leadership. Think about all the different kings that's mentioned as having ruled over Israel and then later Judah. You remember that Israel originally was one kingdom. 3 different kings ruled over this oneness: Saul, David, and then Solomon. And then upon Solomon's death, the kingdom split, it divided. 10 tribes up north, 2 tribes down south. Jeroboam, king in the north, Israel, and Rehoboam, king in the south over Judah. Over the course of centuries, 19 different kings rule over Israel in the north, and 20 different kings over Judah in the south. And as we read Kings and Chronicles, we're often given an assessment of each of the kings' reign, what it was like. It's very concise and very candid and clear. Take, for example, here, the rule of Zedekiah. He's in Judah in the south, not long before Judah ceases to exist. Well, he reigned 11 years. He ascended the throne when he was 21. But the bottom line is he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. He didn't humble himself before the prophet Jeremiah, and it goes on. The same thing can be said of so many of the kings. Take, for example, a predecessor, Jehoiakim. He reigned 11 years. He started when he was 25 years of age, but the bottom line was he was evil in his deeds before the Lord. It just reads like that over and over and over again. 39 kings for northern and southern kingdoms, Israel and Judah. And of those 39, only 8, and all of them in the south in Judah, are good. That means things are never going well. It's always evil, the rulers in the north, the 10 of the 12 tribes. And in the south, of the 20 kings, only 8 of the 20, not even a majority, are given a good designation. But to be totally fair, the majority of the time that the kings rule in the south, a slim majority, those are good times. The kings are doing the right thing. Well, what's to take away from all of this? Well, we need to remember that God had foreseen all of this ahead of time, and he wasn't really keen on the idea of Israel having a king to begin with. You can read about that in Deuteronomy 17. And when Israel just demanded that God give them a king, God relents to their ways, and that's where all this begins. You can read about that in 1 Samuel 8. But it seems to me that one of the big takeaways for us today from all of these events back then is how much the human leaders of government need our prayers. It's expected for those who rule over a community of people to rule well, to do right by God, and to do that by doing right by people. That requires the help of God. And so we do extremely well to help our leaders rule well, to do right in the eyes of God, by holding them up in constant, consistent prayer. When we talk with God on behalf of others and ask God to bless them, blessings can come and can overflow and spill over, saturating all of society and not merely one person. All 39 of these kings needed godly people to be praying for them. What a difference it might have been if there had been more godly people praying for all of these kings. One can only wonder and imagine. But we get an insight into prayer and leading people in this week's sermon. So tune in and listen to that one. In the meantime, here's the bottom line. You can capture the notes, all the different kings of Israel and all the different kings of Judah, how many in each, and where it had been told that God had seen all this ahead of time, but Israel wanted their own way anyway. Think about these things. And then as you do so, think about those who lead the government where you live and pray for them. Grace and peace be with us all.